Hi, I'm Josh Allen, companion bread guy. I'm here with my good friend, Chef Bill Gideon at River City Casino, and we're really excited about the Collaborative Series 3 this year, and we are doing a beautiful artisan English muffin. It's kind of a little bit of a take on an English muffin that we're doing with Chef. He's getting ready to make a beautiful three-way BLT down here at the casino, and we're going to turn it over to him to show you how to do it.
So as Josh said, today we're going to be making the three-way BLT. Everybody loves a BLT, who wouldn't? It's a wonderful thing to have, and here at River City Casino we like to have it in many applications, whether it be at Louis IX restaurant or it be at the 1904 beer house. We thought it was something that would be applicable in many different situations. So without talking too much, we're going to get started here. The first thing you need to do, and the hardest task for this, is to pound out the bacon. Now you can do this whole dish without making it wrapped in the bacon, but if you want to be a real superstar, that's what you need to do. And then we're going to take a few strips of bacon, obviously the star of the BLT. Running a close second to the different types of tomato we're going to have in there. In the tomato we have a red beefsteak, an oven cured tomato that's baked and made into a mayonnaise, and we also have a pickled green tomato, just to give it a little bite and a little love. I would suggest to you that you use 2 cutting boards or a really thick block cutting board like I'm using. This way you don't get any bounce when you're pounding it. You just want to lightly pound this, and that's easily done. We're finished with that piece. Really important that you get it pounded thin so that it gets crisp, because unlike myself who likes bacon a little undercooked, most people really like a crispy bacon. So that's a really important piece. Next we're going to make our oven cure tomato mayonnaise. Now I've already gone through and the little elves made my oven cured tomatoes for me, so I'm able to just put them right onto a cutting board. I'm going to chop them up a little bit. For ease at home, you could easily do this inside of a Cuisinart or a Robot-Coupe, which will save you a lot of steps. I didn't have a big enough cord to be able to do that, so I have to use a knife. Now as you can see, that was pretty easy to do. I'm going to put that right up into a bowl. A little bit of mayonnaise, which we already have right here. You don't need too much. Again, if you're trying to watch your weight, a little bit of cream cheese or a light mayonnaise is easily done with this. And in fact, the whole dish can become vegetarian. Leave out the bacon and just do the tomatoes, and you've got a vegetarian dish that's still really good. We're going to add a little bit of sriracha chili. It's today's ketchup from Vietnam. I like a little kick when I bite into my BLT, and the mayonnaise with the fat content inside kind of mellows that out, but still gives you a little bite and a little finish in the back of the throat. So now we're ready to bread our tomatoes and fry them. We're going to use a beefsteak tomato. Now this time of year tomatoes really aren't that good, which is why you'll see that I've used a pickled green tomato. I've cooked the oven cured tomatoes, which obviously make them a little sweeter, and I'm going to deep fry these. So again, bringing out the natural sweetness that's inside of the tomato. Four little slices, we're only going to use 2. And then we go to a natural breading procedure, which is flour, egg, and breadcrumbs. Everybody understands that. They've been doing it all their lives. It's an easy thing to do. We're going to put them in the flour. Put it in the egg. And then put it right in the breadcrumbs. Really important that you season the tomatoes with salt and pepper. Every step that you do in any kind of cooking process, it's important that you're seasoning with salt and pepper. That takes something from being average and good to wow and great. Really important step. So now we've breaded our tomatoes. The next step is to actually fry them. Once your oil starts to get a little bit hot, take your tomato and put it in. You can tell the oil is ready because it's immediately starting to bubble up around the sides, and it won't take very long for this to get golden brown at all. We want both of the tomatoes in. You can adjust your flame. Make sure it's not too high. You don't want a flash point. You don't want your grease to catch on fire. So we've fried our tomatoes. We have our bacon pounded, and now we're actually ready to assemble. This is probably the second trickiest part in the whole assembly part because you actually have to weave the bacon around the tomatoes. Not that hard, a little bit of practice and anybody's a superstar, but this would be the hardest piece. If you think that you can't get this done, now's the time that you fry your bacon, put everything together, or if you're just so darn hungry you have to have it now, that's what you do. So now we're ready to wrap our tomatoes. Very important that you wrap this tightly. That's the most important piece. Taking the tomatoes, you hold them together, take the bacon, and slowly wrap it around so it's a little cocoon. And that's it. As I said before, the second hardest part was the wrap. The first hardest part, or the most difficult part of this, is the actual frying of this. You're going to have a little bit of a trick to the tongs, but again, it's so well worth it. Take the tomato, take the seam side, put it down in the pan. So at this point, as you can see, the bacon has kind of rendered itself, so it seals it up. It's almost like if you remember in the 80s Shrinky Dinks, it kind of shrinks itself onto the tomatoes. You need to turn it on its side and actually hold it there for a minute. Just long enough to cook a little bit of the bacon on each side. So we've made our bacon wrapped tomatoes. I could bite into it just like that. Wow, is that going to be good. We're ready now just for the finishing touches. So we're going to take a little bit of romaine lettuce. You can use any lettuce you want. I like the romaine because it has a nice crunch to it. Do a little chiffonade, just thin pieces. We're going to get our bun, the wonderful companion artisan English muffin, I might add. And we're going to toast the bun. A toaster is fine for you at home. We have our pickled green tomatoes. These are Clausen variety. You can find them in the cold section of almost any, a Whole Foods, a Staub's, well, those types of grocery stores that are a little more upscale, but they're a pickled green tomato. One of my favorites. They add a little bite to the dish. You don't have to put them on there, but I think it really adds a lot to it at the end. We're going to take a little bit of our mayonnaise, which has a little spice to it. We're going to make sure we put a liberal amount of that on there because you need to have that to really make it yummy. A little bit of our lettuce. Our pickled tomatoes. The star of the show. The three-way BLT.